All right, a good morning to everyone in the room today and who are tuning in through live stream. Welcome back to the second and final day of the ACSES Policy Symposium 2025. I'm Ian Lee, the Director of the Research and Policy Program at ACSES. I would like to start by acknowledging the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation upon whose lands we are meeting today, and I would like to pay respect to the elders past and present, acknowledging them as the traditional custodians of knowledge for this land. I would also like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the various ancestral lands from which our online attendees join us today, and to pay respect to those elders past and present. Now, I hope those of you who were here at yesterday's symposium enjoyed the stimulating day of discussion, and I hope the symposium dinner and awards was also very enjoyable for those who managed to attend yesterday. We have another stellar line of speakers and panels to advance the conversation of student equity in higher education today. I'm going to give a brief overview of the day and what we have in the program. Our first speaker today will be the Shadow Minister for Education, Senator Jonathan Dunham. The Senator is unable to join us in person, but has kindly recorded his talk to lay out his vision of Australian higher education and equity. We will then have a keynote address by Dr. Tim Rennick, Founding Executive Director of the National Institute of Student Success at Georgia State University. Dr. Rennick will be live streamed in and speak to us about the Georgia State model using AI and analytics to transform outcomes for underserved students. We are particularly interested in learning from Georgia State University and the Institute on their evidence-based and data-driven approach for student success. We will then have a panel of senior sector leaders who will respond to Dr. Rennick's talk, and then we will have 3 panels for the rest of the day. The first panel for today in the morning will be Alternative Pathways to University. The school leaving pathway has declined rapidly as the way that students access higher education in the last 20 years, and to achieve growth through equity in the sector, learning about the pathways that students access university, what works, what doesn't, and what needs to be changed is important. The second panel is on equity, policy, and data. Data is the backbone of good policy decisions, and this panel will explore how we can use data in innovative ways to support decision-making in higher education. And at the conclusion of this panel, we want to get everyone's thoughts on what data you wish to get or you wish you had to support your work and decisions. So it's basically a short activity like a wish list. You can start thinking about what you would like to express, but what's your wish list for what sort of data is missing in higher education and what you wish you had. And our final panel for the symposium is Reimagining Equity in Australian Higher Education. Given that so much change is happening in the sector, what sort of ambitious thinking and reform is required to drive change, student equity, and student success? And this panel will discuss the blue skies ideas and visions that's required for student equity. We will then conclude with a keynote by Luke Sheehy, CEO of Universities Australia, and then closing reflections by UNSW student Eunice Cheng and myself. A reminder that we will be using Slido exclusively for Q&A for all participants and panels. There is a QR code on your lanyards and in the table for those in the room here. And for those live streaming in, the link to the Slido will be popped into the chat periodically. The QR code will also be displayed on the screen during Q&A time, and anyone can scan the code to access the Slido then. Please share your questions for your speakers. We did such a great job of that yesterday. Really brilliant questions. And please also upvote the questions you would like to prioritize for answering. The venue has also asked me to request that participants with luggage and bags to utilize the alcoves at the back of the room to store your luggage so that they don't get into anyone's way. And I look forward to the important and rigorous conversations that will take place over the course of today. Before we kick off with the first speaker, I would like to invite Professor Shamit Saggar, Executive Director of ACSES, to make a brief announcement.
It will be brief. That's on there. Is that on? Yes. So you will have seen on the tables in front of you copies of this publication. I thought it'd be a good time to, as we say in Australia, spruik it, promote it. We're not actually formally launching it. There will be a session this afternoon at 3 o'clock when we go into some of the content of this report, but I commend it to you. There's not quite a quiz that's going to take place later on, so the pressure is off, but I do suggest that, if you get a moment, do look at it. The reason why this is important is that it is forward-looking. We've invited a cross-section of people as part of this thought leadership project to think a little bit about where we might be in the future and the kind of the best sort of strategies for getting there. I won't sort of preempt what's actually in the report. We'll have a discussion later on. But I do want to commend this to you. And without any further ado, we'll get on with the actual programme as Ian described. The report.